Hey everyone, welcome back to Sunita's English Adventure. I hope you all are doing awesome. So, I recently had a chance to attend a session with one of my all time favorite tutors, Neetu Edison from EnglishYaari platform. And I still can't believe I got a free slot with her. Lucky me. And if you have heard me using words like topsy turvy, haywire, taking a toll, so don't thank me, but thank her because I learned all of those gems from ma'am. And I literally use them every day in my conversations. The session was a blend of so many things together, and trust me, this is one of those conversations that truly deserves your attention. And at the end, Neetu ma'am also shared with me some thoughtful feedback, something that I'm definitely going to hold on to. So let's dive into this amazing experience together now.
Hi, Sunita. Good morning.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
How are you doing? All okay with you?
I'm doing absolutely fine. Thank you for asking. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you. I have a bad cough, so you have to excuse my voice. It sounds like a frog at this point, but yeah, we'll
No
try to get
problem.
through it.
It still sounds amazing.
Well, thank you very much. You haven't heard my original voice, so that's maybe the reason. Yeah, let me just have a sip of
No,
water.
I
Sorry.
have definitely heard that. I've watched many of your videos, and luckily I got one of your slots. So feeling
Oh,
so
thank you.
lucky.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine, Sunita. So, where are you from?
I'm from Uttarakhand.
Uttarakhand. Okay. And what do you do?
I am a homemaker, a content creator, and I teach spoken English to beginners and intermediates.
Nice. Okay. Content creator. So, you have your own channel?
Yes, I have my own
Right.
channel.
Okay. And this channel is used for teaching English as well.
Not teach, but just to share my experiences throughout this journey, and I just share whatever I've been learning over this in this journey, you can say. So
Oh,
I
great.
share through my vlogs, through some reels and conversational videos.
Oh, can you tell me your channel, please? What's the name of your channel? I'd love to check it out.
Yes, it's Sunita's English Adventure
Sunita's English Adventure. So I can find you on YouTube and Instagram or
on YouTube only.
on YouTube. Got it. Yeah, that's more
Right.
than enough for me. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to manage channels on Instagram and on YouTube, and it's a nightmare at this point. So yeah, don't even get me started on that. Yeah. And so, are you based in Uttarakhand at the moment, or do you live elsewhere?
No, no, I'm in Uttarakhand right now.
Okay, fine. Did you ever work, Sunita?
Yes, I have worked for around 2.5 years in corporates. Very short span of time, I would say. And after that, I had delivered my first baby, so I had to leave my job.
Oh, okay. What were you doing when you were working in a corporate environment?
I was an HR back then.
Hmm. So, what did you do in college?
MBA in HR and marketing.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. So, you were in the human resources department. Have you ever thought of going back to work in the HR field?
It seems impossible actually, so I never gave it a thought because, yes, there is no scope. But yes, I was looking for something for myself that I could do from the comfort of my own home. So, luckily, I stumbled upon the idea of working on my English or posting content related to English, and that is working wonders for me. So, I'm really enjoying this journey.
That's good. That's good, right? So, Uttarakhand, is it? Is it? I've never been to the northern part of India. Would you recommend Uttarakhand as a tourist spot if I was to come there? What would you think I should be doing when I come there? What's there for me to see, to do in Uttarakhand?
Right. So definitely it's a tourist spot and it's a first preference, I would say, for every tourist. And it is called
Oh,
Land of God. So you'll get to see a lot of temples after every
okay.
kilometer, I would say. So yes, if
Ah,
you're really into temples or if you really believe in God, then it's a place for you and you're definitely going to enjoy. And if you're a nature lover too, then there is you'll get a good dose of nature, good dose of serenity, tranquility, isolation from that city life, right?
okay.
And
Right.
whatnot. So you're definitely going to love it and you will not feel like going back. That kind
Oh,
of
right.
atmosphere, ambience you're going to get here.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine. But at any point in time, Sunita, do you ever miss, not having a shopping mall or not having the hustle and bustle of, going somewhere and, haggling with the shopkeepers, to get what you want? Do you ever miss that, or you're happy with being, in a calm and tranquil environment? Because I know I go crazy after a while.
So frankly speaking, I don't feel like that because I'm quite content with the life here because I've seen both the lives actually. Earlier
Oh,
I was in city only. So I've seen all the hustle, bustle, chaotic environment, and I found city life completely pathetic in every terms, I would say. So village life is far better than city from my lens, you can say. So yes, I'm feeling so content. I feel so fortunate that yes, it's my hometown and I need not to search for a land and build a home and everything. So I'm fortunate enough. Everything is well settled. I just had to shift my family from city to village and we are just living it. There is nothing better than this at this moment in this era. There is nothing better than this. And people are actually preferring to reverse migrate to their villages these days because of the city life they're getting, because of the adulteration where whatever they eat, everything is adulterated, everything is made up of chemicals, even vegetables and fruits as well. They inject chemicals into it. And that is taking a toll on their health as well. And let me confess that I learned this phrase from you, one of your videos,
Oh,
taking toll,
thank you.
topsy turvy, and all that. So, yes, I truly
Okay.
admire. So, yes, so because of that reason, we're having a organic life here, a pure and having, breathing that fresh air. So, what better you can expect? What else you can expect in life?
It's a very valid point that you just mentioned about the fact that we are eating adulterated food at this point. The air that we breathe is just, let's not even go there. But at the same time, when you look at job opportunities, or simply to have a good time, or even for our children, in terms of sending them for extracurricular activities. Right now, I live in the city, for instance. I just came back from my place, which is a town. It's not a village, but it's a town. Now, in terms of saying I have twin daughters, they're 5. Now, if I was to send them for a painting, I was looking for a good place for them to go to start painting classes, and I've enrolled them. As soon as I searched on Google, Sunita, there were so many places in walking distance from where I am, because I am in the city. Do you expect to have that quality of education or that quality of life for your children if you were in a town or in a village?
I don't expect the quality, but I expect the trust, the security when I'm in a village as compared to city. Because cities can provide you a lot of opportunities, a lot of options, but you'll always feel scared. You'll always feel afraid when you send your kids to some place, right? That happens. I'm sure you'll agree with it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, that's the one thing. That's the one thing. And I am so much immensely influenced by homeschoolers' parents, actually. So
Really.
by that influence, I also started homeschooling, and that's why I shifted from city to my village because I thought there is no point living in city when we are not, uh, preferring that private or you can say that modern education much. So let's move back to a village, and there we can provide them a homeschooling kind of environment. Although I was not able to continue with it because my kids are super naughty, and they both have boys and just 20 months apart. So again, they
Oh,
were keeping me on my toes all the time. So it was a disaster and a big challenge for me. So
okay.
yes, I have pushed them again to a school, so a mediocre school here. But I'm
Okay.
planning to open my own school in village so that I
Nice.
could help not only my kids but other kids around as well.
Okay.
And I want to provide them that kind of environment where they would not only learn modern education but they would learn moral values and the kind of education that people used to get in gurukuls back then. So overall holistic development kind of thing I want to introduce in that school.
I think that is an amazing idea because one problem that I see in today's youth, Sunita, is that I'm a Christian, and I've seen how the North Indians or maybe even the Hindu community they greet you. You greet your elders, and correct me if I'm wrong. You greet your elders by touching the toes, by touching the feet of your elders. How we do it is we say we fold our hands and we say praise be to Jesus. This is how we greet our elders. Now, back in the day, when I was growing up, and even now, with my aunts and uncles, and all of them who are now in their 70s and 80s, even now, I greet them as soon as I see them. I greet them. My cousin, who's my cousin sister, who's now in her 50s, she through the phone she greets them. I don't go that far, but through the phone she greets them that way. Praise be to Jesus. That's how she starts the conversation before she goes through any further. But today's generation, and with my daughters, they're only 5, but I keep poking them. And I say, no, do this, you have to do this. But what I noticed is teenagers today, They just don't know this, Sunita. They don't
Mhm.
know the teenagers within our family, within our extended family, I'm saying, within our extended family, or even just children in schools and all that stuff. This basic thing they don't. Now, you could argue with me, Sunita, and say that that's because, madam, they're not doing it at their house. The parents are not teaching them. But I have a, and I'm not saying this because, I'm a parent myself. But at the same time, don't you think schools also have a responsibility in inculcating these values?
Yes, I completely agree with that because in most of the houses, it happens that kids don't listen to their parents much. Like, whatever we say, whether it's right or wrong, they are not going to listen to us. But whatever their teacher says, they are definitely going to listen to it. So, yes, school has that bigger responsibility when it comes to moral values as well.
Absolutely.
So, yes, definitely. So, I want to give that kind of atmosphere as well to students when I'll open my school in future. So,
Okay.
yes, moral values, that's the topmost priority, I would say, because
Yeah,
education, we are getting into it, we are indulging our kids into modern day education, but it is not going to help them in their real life much because we also know that whatever we have read in our schools, it's not helping us. But our moral values, our confidence, our personality development is helping us in whatever we are flourishing, right? So we have to
absolutely.
focus more on soft skills rather
Yeah.
than that subjects or modern education, right?
You took
So
the
that is
words right
definitely.
out of my mouth, actually. The soft skills perspective. That's exactly what I was going to ask you, but you actually took it out of my mouth. So please continue. Go ahead.
Yes. So because of that reason itself, with I withdrew my kids from school. Am I right? I withdrew my kids from
Yes,
school.
yes, yes. You took them out from
Right.
school. Yeah, you
Hmm.
took the. It's better to say you took them out from the school rather than withdrew. Took them out from
Right.
school.
Right, because I don't give priority to that modern education, right? It's just a formality, but we want to give them a kind of environment where they grow as a better individual. So they can learn from their grandparents, their aunties, uncles, their cousins, everything. So the kind of bond they create, I have experienced myself that here in my community, like we have an extended family here, so even kids are very responsible towards their younger ones,
Yeah,
right? Their
yeah,
younger siblings, they're responsible, they're acting as a parent to them. So
right.
we are at a state of we are at a peace of mind that if the elder one is with the younger one, so he must be taking care of him,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
that's,
Very true.
I need not to teach them this thing, teach them this value. They automatically gets it when they see people doing it, right?
Hmm.
So that's the
Got it.
advantage of living in a joint family and in your community in a village. You don't get this atmosphere in cities, I must say. I
But
have
so
never seen.
okay, fair point. All of the points that you mentioned are fair, but I have a couple of points. I beg to differ with you on a couple of points. So just bear with me when I say this. Number one, you talked about the fact that modern education is just a formality. To a certain extent, I agree with you. But let's be honest. When kids complete school and when they go to university, university is not going to say that this was just a formality. They require to see marks if they want your children to be enrolled, if they want to enroll your kids in their university for a bachelor's degree or for a master's degree. Number one. Number two, you talked about a joint family and the values that are inculcated. But many families, let's be honest, again, a lot of people switch to nuclear families primarily because either family members are in conflict with each other. We've seen all these. I think it's probably the influence of soap operas. I'm not too sure. But you have the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law conflicts, or the two sisters-in-law not getting along with each other, or maybe even the little kids. They're all constantly fighting with each other. Of course, there are plenty of excellent values to get from your grandparents and all of that. 10% agree with you. But having said that, in a nuclear family, we have the privacy of making our own decisions rather than being influenced by everyone in the house. Correct. So that is also an aspect to take into mind. So how can you, if I was to be blunt about this, how can you diss modern education number one? This means ignore. So how can you diss modern education number one and nuclear families number two?
Mhm. First of all, if we talk about education, then I would say like there is an institution called NIOS. That's for open schoolers, right? So definitely you can homeschool your kids till 8th class and even till 10th class as well. And after that, they can appear for this NIOS open exams, you can say. So
Okay.
you can help your kids prepare for that. You can uh, get them enrolled into tuition classes as well as per the subjects they are weak in. right? So that's something that can be done, and you can spend all your quality time with your kids throughout these years, right? So that's the thing, and they would. It is definitely going to nourish their well-being, I mean mental well-being as well, not just physical well-being, right? Because when kids
Yes.
go to school these days, you must have noticed that they are so overburdened with studies, right? So it is definitely hampering their mental and physical well-being too. So that's the top priority for every parent, but it's just that they are bound, or they are it's because of the compulsion they have to send their kids to school, and it's a, I mean it's a trend, going on for
Okay.
years and years, and that's why we are following it. But yes,
Okay.
it's time to break that trend, and whatever you feel for your children, because your children are your responsibility, and nobody can do better than you for your children, right? You always think for their well-being only. So that's the one thing. So that's one option. NIOS, you can appear for exams in 10th and 12th grade, and plan accordingly, prepare accordingly, and then get into
Okay.
universities as well. So that's one
Okay.
solution. And could you please repeat that next question?
Nuclear family versus joint family. Now, in a joint family, what you said is grandparents, uncles, aunts, you get the values and these things, touch the elders' feet, praise be to Jesus. These kinds of basic etiquettes, manners we learn when we're there. Having said that, if we are in a joint family, if I was to take a decision, okay, so today we're going to go out for a movie, okay, then everyone will be like, oh, you guys are going out for a movie, then who's going to take care of the kitchen responsibilities, or who's going to take care of the kids? I mean, simple things. I'm not saying that it's going to be a problem, but simple things also you have to rely on the decision of 20 people. You can't take a decision on your own, is what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
I can completely resonate with it, because living in a joint family is definitely problematic. And I agree to that. I also live in a joint family, and I can't deny it's problematic, but you also learn with process. You also learn how to, compromise, how to sacrifice at times for your loved ones. And you also teach these values to your children too at the same time. So it's better
Okay.
not to, keep your kids separate from the rest of the family. Better to live together, and uh, help them learn how to live in, in a joint family, despite being it problematic.
Sunita, again, I have a problem with the word compromise. Don't you
Mhm.
think for centuries women have been compromising? I mean, and this is not a feminist talking to you. I promise you, I'm not a feminist. Where men have to be given priority, I give them priority. But you just use the word compromise. When we say that we teach our children the values of compromise, in essence, you are teaching the value of compromise because you being the mother, you being the wife, you being the woman are teaching that value. Let's be honest. Do our men teach this value of compromise as much as the women? So essentially, you are saying that it's okay to compromise despite the fact that you don't agree with something. Isn't it better that we speak out and tell our truth rather than bottling up our feelings so that we don't have bigger problems later on?
Hmm. So speaking out definitely leads to repercussions, right? So that's definitely not advisable when you are in a joint family. But again, I
Right.
would say when you're in a nuclear family, and let's suppose you are down in dumps and you're facing some problem, but then there is a family for you to support you,
That's
right? So you can
very true.
definitely rely on them when you live together. I'm not talking about just ladies compromise or women's compromise, but when you live in a joint family, everybody compromises. Everybody, somehow control their tongue, control their minds, so not to hurt each other. So this is
Okay.
how you learn living in a joint family. But if you want to help this family go on smoothly, so you have to learn all these values. These are values that were being taught from years to year, year on years, and from centuries, I would say. Even in our mythological books also, you'll get to see all these kind of values, right? So
Got it.
I am totally what would I say, I totally agree to it. I totally agree to it. It's not that other people are saying that women need not to compromise, so I would agree to them. But it's my own perspective that yes, compromising, sacrificing to the extent that it is not harming you is good. But
Fair
if
point.
it helps
Yeah.
to maintain the bond of the family, then it's good.
Okay. Fair point. That is actually a very valid point because if it actually helps maintaining the harmony in the bond, and that what you said is also a point because initially I thought you were talking about compromise only from a female perspective, but now that you're saying that everyone compromises in essence, both the men and the women, everyone compromises, and that's actually a very valid point because that's when you learn the humility, values of humility, tolerance, patience, those kinds of values. I do agree with you. I think are inculcated in a joint family. That is a very, very valid point. And those are things that our children can also benefit from. That I 10% agree with you. That's the one thing because right now we live in a nuclear family. They have very loving grandparents on both sides. Now, when they occasionally go to their grandparents' houses, now my husband's parents, they stay maybe 20 minutes away. So when we go to their house, we go there over the weekend. Not every weekend, but over the weekend. But when they do go there, it creates a bond. But I sometimes feel that if we were living there, it would have made an even stronger bond because at this point in time, my children are closer. I have to be honest with you with my grandparents, sorry, with my parents, because they lived there from the time they were born till the age of 4. My children were there. So that bond is just developing with their paternal grandparents. So I do agree with you on that one point. Yeah. So a joint family does, and especially my mother-in-law, she speaks the mother tongue very well. The problem with me is I always speak in English to my kids, and living in Kerala, wherever you live, you have to have your mother tongue is important because the directions are written in Malayalam or things like that. And had we been living with my in-laws, this my children would not have faced the challenges they're facing now with the mother tongue. Of course, they're learning it now in school, which is great. But my Malayalam is also very poor. So I'm more comfortable with English, so which is why I stick with English. So those kinds of values, I do agree with you. Those are things that come when you live with your grandparents, when you live in a joint family. So I 10% agree with you on that one.
Thank you
So
for
Rita, you
that.
speak very well. I can only imagine that your students, how much they benefit from the way you talk. You have an excellent accent. You use some really good words, like for instance, you talked about repercussions. You talked about sacrifice. You talked about nourishing their mental well-being. I love that terminology, mental well-being. A lot of times, people sort of say mental and then they don't know how to complete the sentence. But here you completed it and you talked about nourishing their mental well-being. Excellent choice of words. However, there were a few pronunciation errors. So if you can just open up your chat box, Sunita, how do you
Yes.
pronounce this particular word that I am typing for you right now? There we go.
Mythological.
Oh, it's not my, it's me. It's mythological.
Okay.
Mythological. Yeah. Now,
Okay.
very important point that you need to notice. If you notice, there are two O's in that word. One O comes before the L and the other one after the L. When an
Yes.
alphabet is repeated twice in a word, usually one of those alphabets is given prominence and the other alphabet becomes silent. So in this case, it is the first O that is given prominence. The other one is almost silent. So it's mythological. Mythological.
Mythological.
First class. There we go.
Mythological.
That's it. There we go. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is this particular pronunciation. Maybe I misheard it, but if you can repeat that for me once again, please.
Individual.
Yeah, now you're saying it right. I don't know why I wrote it down, but for some reason I didn't like your pronunciation the previous time. Something was off about it, but maybe it's just my hearing. So we'll leave it at that. Now, the you used an idiom down in dumps is what you said. It's supposed to be down in the dumps. Very important point when you use idioms. Please don't twist the idioms according to your convenience. And I know you're not doing it on purpose, but a lot of times it happens, myself included. In that flow, we sometimes tend to sort of twist it, and then the meaning is lost. So it's supposed to be down in the dumps. The article is extremely important. Please don't ignore it because the article is the backbone of your sentence. If the article is not there, your sentence is backwards. So it's a very, very important point. You can
Got
point
it.
here. Then another major error, but surprisingly, you corrected it the second time around. So I don't know, maybe it was a slip of the tongue. You said till 8th class, till 10th class. Wrong.
Until 10th class.
Class is wrong. That's what I was trying to say. It's supposed to
Okay.
be the grade or the
Great.
10th grade. Yeah. But
Okay.
then, surprisingly, after that, you spoke again when you talked about 11th grade, 12th grade. That time you said grade. But here you said 8th class and 10th class, which is wrong. This is a very common error and it's actually a very significant error. There is no such thing as 8th class or 10th class. It's always 8th grade or 10th grade.
Okay.
In the Indian context, we say 8 standard, 10 standard. That's also actually only in India that we use it. It's supposed to be 8. It's the international way of speaking is always going to be grade.
All right, I
So
was
that's
not
it.
aware.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to say it. It's a very valid point. Apart from that, I have to be honest with you. Everything else you spoke well. You have a good choice of vocabulary. It was not over the top. You used the idioms in the right places. You did not use an overdose of idioms. Sometimes I hear an overdose of idioms and I get a headache. You use 2 idioms at the right portions. You use the word replications, one of my favorite words, brilliantly. Everything else, your usage of vocabulary, everything was excellent. One thing I would recommend for you, Sunita, because I see that there is a slight mother tongue influence. It's not a major one, but a slight mother tongue influence is there. It would help if you listen to certain people the way they talk. Like, for instance, one of my all-time favorite British actors is this man, Hugh Grant. If you check out Hugh Grant's interviews or Hugh Grant's speeches, you get YouTube shorts. He's a phenomenal guy. Like he makes jokes with a straight face. So you'll be laughing your head off, but he'll still have a straight face.